And record. Okay, so my name is Angie Zumwalt, and I am a Sapphire ambassador. I'm really hoping to be Diamond this month with Plexus. So I have been with Plexus since 2014. Ellen Ford is my direct upline. She is also a really good friend of mine, and Barry and her were kind of some mentors for me and my husband. We went to church together. We've known each other for years. And so kind of how all of this started out is, of course, I went to church with Ellen, Andrea, and Julia. We all went to church in Dallas. And Ellen and Andrea had started doing Plexus, posting it on Facebook. Julia and I would make fun of them because we're like, there is no way we're going to be doing some like weight loss crazy thing that makes us stop drinking our Cokes, because we both like to drink our Coke. So anyway, so I got laid off. So rewind back the year before, and I was a escrow officer in the title business for 15 years. I had been laid off. If you know anything about the title mortgage industry, it's really kind of shaky. And I had been laid off in July of 2013, and it was really kind of a blessing in disguise because at that time we had just finished the adoption of my son. And so we decided to go ahead and just take some time off so that I could be with him, and he had some special things that he needed to be taken care of. So be with him, be with my daughter until after the first of the year. So, I was staying home, and Ellen was posting about this stuff on Facebook. It probably started in December, and I thought she was crazy. At first, I really thought that her Facebook, I was like, something is going on, like it's hacked or something. So she started telling me, and I'm like, I don't need any part of this crazy, like whatever weight loss thing that you're doing. And they talked to me about it a lot, but I really was not interested at all until, honestly, when my husband kind of was putting pressure on me to go back to work in March of 2014. And I just did not want to leave my babies. I couldn't bear. And so I had talked to Ellen, and at that time she was like, I've been making an extra $1,000 a month. And I'm like, all right, sign me up, show me how to do this. So when I started Plexus, I really didn't know a lot about the products. I really didn't, all I cared about was I needed to make enough money so that I could be home with my kids. So I had this huge driving force. So within about, I just did exactly, I started working the business right away. I had to borrow money to purchase my welcome pack. And actually, when I signed up, this is not typically the way that you're supposed to do things, but I did borrow money so that I could do the $34.99. And then I had to make enough money. The deal with my husband was that we weren't going to spend any of our money on this Plexus stuff. So I made enough money within the first 2 weeks to buy my welcome pack. So I did buy it within the first 30 days of signing up. Within 3 weeks on the products, I went to the first thing that I noticed was I went to Walmart, and I used to it was just a habit. The first thing I would do is go to the little soda machine, get myself a soda, walk around the store, get one before I left, because I drank sodas like all day long. I noticed when I took a drink of my soda, it tasted bad. And I kind of thought it was just flat or something like that. So then I went to the back, and I got, my normal case of Cokes, went home. They still didn't taste good. The other one I got out of the refrigerator, they still didn't taste good. And so what I had noticed was all of a sudden, I'm sure many of you have noticed, that my tastes were changing. I was no longer craving the sodas or anything, the sugary stuff. On Easter time, I loaded up 100 Easter eggs. And I realized after I had done it, like I ate none of the candy. And that's amazing for me because usually it's like some in the egg, a bunch in my mouth, you know? And so I just started noticing these little changes. I've always been a little borderline hypoglycemic. And so I wasn't getting that like high and low and, you know, feeling the cold sweats and feeling lightheaded anymore. When I would get up in the morning, I would drink 2 cups of coffee. I would go to Starbucks, get a cup of coffee, and I probably had 3 Route 44 cherry Cokes a day from Sonic. Yes, and I had a headache every day, and I lived on caffeine, but it was like I had that headache because I was constantly chasing the caffeine. So I stopped drinking the Cokes. I stopped, you know, I noticed that my head wasn't hurting anymore. My blood sugar levels were even. I had jaw surgery. I'm sure that you may have seen my testimony about my jaw surgery, but I had jaw surgery. My jaw was broken in 7 different places. And for 6 years, I was completely numb all through here. I mean, I could not feel anything. I would drool on myself. I got food on myself. I kind of just thought that's the way it was going to be for the rest of my life. And I tried out the Nerve products. Within 3 weeks of taking the Nerve products, I noticed that I could start feeling cold on my chin again. So it's almost like about 90% I have feeling back in my jaw, which I think is absolutely amazing. It's not, we did get the products approved for my doctor, for my daughter to take. And she has ADHD and ADD and oppositional defiance. We took her to a behavioral specialist, and I have taken her off of her medicine. So for my family, my mom has been able to get off of her blood pressure medicine. So for my family, these products have been a life changer for me and my family. So on the financial end, you know, before Plexus, we were really, really struggling, like living on Totino's pizza and ramen noodles, struggling. And, you know, I was never allowed to use any of my direct money. I always had to work really hard so that I could make enough money to cover my products. And it took me, I mean, I'm not like as fast as Julia went, but I'll kind of talk a little bit about that in a minute. But, you know, I went silver pretty quickly, like in March. I went silver in May. I went gold in September. After I signed up September, I went senior gold. And then December, I went ruby. And then February of last year, I went senior ruby. And then July of last year, I went emerald. And then I'm like praying I should go diamond this month. So probably something that I would like to share, and I feel like, you know, is probably, you know, within our team, we have a lot of people that have just shot up to the top. And while that is absolutely amazing, and I'm so proud to have those people on our team, it also, for other people, I feel like it can be a discouragement for people that are maybe moving at a slower pace than others. And so, you know, that's what I want to talk about, because, you know, I'm the person that's moving probably more at a normal pace than other people. So when Julia signed on, I was so excited because I'm like, okay, finally somebody that gets it. The mistake that I made was that when she signed on, I stopped working. And not that I stopped working in that, you know, I wasn't doing anything, but I did devote a lot of time into her team, and I did not continue to build my business. So that's something that, you know, you always want to continue to build your business. Even when you get so excited that you get this rock star, it's kind of a balancing thing that you need to make sure that you're still building your business. Because I went about 3 months and I didn't add anyone. And that really hurt me that I just wasn't continuing to make sure. I go silver every single month. I add 3 people every single month. And that's kind of my goal. Now, there have been months where I have added more. There have been months when I have added less. But I really try to make that my goal of going silver every single month. So it kind of just, you know, at the point where it was like all of a sudden Julia's leg, you all were like in full momentum, and it was just like I couldn't even catch up because I wasn't continuing to harvest my business. And then when I finally started, you know, doing it, then it was like I just couldn't catch up. Well, although I love Julia to pieces, I was so incredibly excited for her. It did something to me. It made me stop believing in myself. And this was all on me. This was all on my mindset. And slowly I would start telling myself, gosh, Angie, you're not good enough. Angie, you know, look at her. She's passing you. She's better than you. Nobody would want to hear from you. And it really, really killed my business. That's probably why it took me 8 months to get from emerald to sapphire, because my mindset was horrible. At the time in my business, when you would have looked at me and you would have thought, oh my gosh, Angie's like doing so good. She's moving to Florida. She's going to Bloomingdale. She's doing all this stuff. Y'all, I was really, really depressed because I moved to Florida. I was away from my family. It was a huge change. My daughter was kind of having some issues with the, you know, moving to a new school. And my mindset about the business, I mean, Julia's team was just going like crazy. But to me, I was like, gosh, I just can't get these people on my outside leg moving. Like, when am I going to find another rock star? And it really took all the way to November. I think I went through 3 months of just like feeling sorry for myself. And then in November, I kind of opened up to Ellen about it. And she's really good about, you know, helping me through my mindset and breathing life into me. And I kind of just thought, you know what, Angie, you can sit around and you can feel sorry for yourself, or you can do something to make a difference. You know, I wasn't doing the things that I needed to do as a leader. I wasn't pouring into my team. I was just feeling sorry for myself because everybody was passing me. And that's the thing I want to talk to you about is your mindset, y'all. Your mindset is probably one of the most important things that you can have in this business. Your mindset will trump your skill set all day long. If you do not believe in yourself, you will not be successful. You have to build belief in yourself. And I wrote some notes, and I just want to say that, you know, I believe in every one of you. I believe that this opportunity is an incredible, incredible opportunity. And if you work at it, and if you are coachable, and if you pour belief into yourself, you can make it to the top. Anybody can do this. But you just have to be coachable. You have to be willing to, you know, there are going to be times that are going to be difficult. I really feel like this business pulls every insecurity that you've ever had out of you. I mean, at least it has for me personally. But the biggest thing is you've got to build belief into yourself. The wrong mindset can keep you away from what I believe is, I think with anything, the wrong mindset can keep you away from the fullest potential that God has for you. So let me go over to this note. Something that I think, if you have not gotten this book, it is absolutely amazing. Actually, there's 2 books that I would say that you would need to get to help you with your mindset. First of it, it's what to say when you talk to yourself. And I can't think of who it is that is the author, but I can send that to you later. That's a really good book. And one of my very favorites is Switched Your Brain On. And what I love about that book, have you read that? What I love so much about that book is it ties scientific, like how your brain works, into scripture. And so it just kind of ties all of that together. And it's just, it goes through a whole like 30-day detox. And to me, that book is just life-changing. I mean, your mindset is in all areas of your life. This will help you if you have better positive thinking. Something that I learned is really working on replacing that negative talk into positive. So every time you say something negative to yourself, really working on catching that and replacing that with something positive. And I know that, you know, it's just, I mean, it's just little bitty things that you don't think really would make an impact. I'm so stupid. Why did I do that? I mean, you have to catch a lot of those things and really work on building yourself up. And I think just as much as building yourself up is, I think it's just, I'm really, if you know me, you know that I am huge on encouragement, huge on making sure you love on and encourage your people. As a Christian personally, for me, I think to myself, like, I might be the only light that that person has in their life. I try to make sure to, instead of messaging my team, I'll do like voice text, private little voice text to check on my people so that they can hear the enthusiasm and passion and encouragement in my voice. But making sure that you're breathing life into your people is so, so important, and making sure that you're encouraging them. Don't compare yourself in this journey. I feel like that is a really big, big thing that I did. And in fact, I'll share this with you. Probably back in February, I was still kind of going through a transition of, you know, negative self-talk. And I'm like, gosh, you know, I'm going to go to Julia's Diamond Dock, and, you know, everybody makes fun of me, probably talks behind my back, and nobody thinks I'm a leader. And, you know, I mean, I was just really talking very, very negatively about myself. But then I was trying to change a lot of that and pray, like, okay, God, you know, I know that you have me here. Just please help me, show me your purpose and why I'm in this, you know, pit or whatever you have me in. I know that you're trying to teach me something. And I had someone, actually it's Shauna, messaged me, and she just sent, and you don't even know, like, encouragement to your uplines from someone on my downline to send me such an encouraging, I mean, it had me in tears. Was the sweetest, most encouraging thing. But then it was like, you know, I got a message from her. I got a message from another person. I got a message from another person, all like within the same week. And it kind of just showed me, okay, my purpose for being on this team is really, I feel like, to speak to the norm of the team, the people that may be moving at a slower pace. Because I have definitely been through a lot of highs and lows, and I really feel like God is going to use my journey to help you all through your struggles. Something that I like to do, okay, wait, so now I'm going to kind of talk. Sorry, I just went blank. Does anyone have any questions for me or something that they would like to talk about? Don't all talk at once. So something that I do want to tell you is make sure that you are not comparing yourself in your journey. I know that we are on a team, on an amazing team with lots of rock stars that make the leaderboard every single week. And it's so super exciting, but it also is so easy to get caught up in comparing yourself. God has you exactly where you are for a purpose. And maybe the reason why you were kind of stuck is because he's still working on preparing and molding you so that he can get you to the next level. I am always here to help you with anything that you need. Something that I can tell you that is really important in this business is consistency. Consistency with making sure that you are posting on Facebook 3 times a day, 3 to 5 times a day, and not only posting Plexus, but also keeping your Facebook audience engaged in your life. People are your friends because they want to know about you. So if you are puking Plexus and making your Facebook page seem real salesy, people will unfollow you or unfriend you. So you want to make sure that you are still, posting about Plexus, but trying to keep it personal. Posting about your family. Really, if you weren't a big person in posting on Facebook before Plexus, you really need to kind of get out of your comfort zone, let people get into your lives. The more real you are on Facebook, the more people love that. But being consistent, and a lot of people say, gosh, if I could only find that rock star, if I can only find someone that just catches the vision and blows it out of the water. We all want the rock star. But the biggest thing is you have to be your own rock star. You have to be the one. If you are not adding people, if you are not posting consistently on Facebook, if you are not consistently engaged on your team pages, your downline will not be either, because they're going to watch you for their momentum. If you don't have a lot of momentum, if you're not being excited and engaging, they're not going to be either. Your team is your people, your downline are going to follow you. And I promise you, if you try to make it a goal to add 2 to 3 people a month, you are eventually going to find someone that gets it. And, sometimes I have a lot of people on my outside leg, especially, that in the beginning, they did not want to work the business. I would want to encourage you to, even if they are wholesale customers, you want to make sure to add them to your direct uplines page and your first Jules page. So that would probably be Tamara's page, and then you would also want to add them to Julia's page. Even if they do not want to work the business. I have added wholesale customers that wanted 0 to do with the business, and they got on the team pages and they caught excitement. And now I have 2 of them that wanted nothing, like, Angie, please take me off that page. And they both just recently went gold. So you never ever know what is going to happen. And the way that I explain these pages to people is I tell them, hey, I'm going to add you to a secret group where you can get inside information. And it's my team, it's, secret, whatever, but who doesn't want to be a part of a secret group where you can get inside information? I mean, everybody does. So don't be afraid to add your people. You want to make sure that you are giving them the best support possible. You want to make sure that you are setting them up for success. I also think that when you add a new person, you need to try to get them on a call with you on like a little Zoom. With every level 1 that I sign up, I try to get them, even if they do not want to work the business, they still need to know how to work their back office. I usually get on a Zoom chat with them. I walk them through how to set up their backup order, make sure it's set up correctly. I show them how to order out of their shopping cart, and then I show them the commission. And I just say, hey, you know what? I know you're probably not interested in this, but I just kind of want to show you, what the potential could be. And if you did this, you could get your products paid for. and I kind of go over a little bit of the commission summary, not the whole thing, but a little bit of it. And so that kind of just starts familiarizing them with everything. And you just never know. I mean, by sharing that with someone that didn't want to work the business, they might start seeing the potential in there. So I have a question here. It says, how do you encourage someone that does not have support from their spouse? So I will tell you, in the beginning, which my husband is always very supportive, but in the beginning, okay, so did you hear that? How do you, what's that? Okay, how do you encourage someone who does not have support from their spouse? So in the beginning, that is something that my husband thought I was crazy and thought this was some fly-by-night thing. And he always, you know, he's not going to like not support me because he is very supportive. But I do know people, the biggest thing that I think, because, you know, for a lot of people, they're like, this isn't something like you can legitimately earn money with, you know, like they just kind of don't see it because it's not the norm. So what I would say is make sure that you are setting, you know, set boundaries. Like with anything in your marriage, in a relationship, I think that you need to set boundaries and say, if this is something that your husband does not like you doing, then you need to find time that you can do this outside of whenever that time, you know, kind of set boundaries. Like I'm going to work my Plexus business from this time to this time. Maybe if you stay at home, maybe it be when you're, when he's at work, or, you know, when he goes to bed at night, but really making sure you set boundaries. And I know it's really hard to not be on your phone all day long. But I really think that that is the biggest thing, especially in the beginning of your business, is kind of setting that boundaries and scheduling in your time for your family. Because I think sometimes you start doing it and then you kind of get so consumed and it becomes this passion, but maybe other people aren't on board yet. And they're like, okay, she's doing this stupid, like sitting on her phone all day long and not paying attention to me, you know, some healthy weight loss product crap, you know, like, I mean, I'm just saying that might be what they're saying. And until they can catch that vision, until they can see that success, I really think boundaries are super important to set, to make sure that you're kind of working. Does that help kind of making, that was something that I had to do, and I still have to work on. It's a constant struggle, but I really feel like making sure to put your family, you know, God and your family first, and setting those boundaries outside of that. And then, you know, kind of having a partner that you can work alongside, an accountability partner. Like if you don't have that support, maybe if you don't have that support at home, find like a accountability partner that will encourage you, that will support you. I mean, I know that Ellen has always been a huge accountability partner for me, and she's always been very encouraging and supportive, and I definitely would not be where I am today if it wasn't for her supporting and encouraging me and kicking me in the butt when I needed to be. So does that help with that? Yes. Okay. Does anyone else have questions or would like me to share anything? Or
Angie, can you repeat what you were saying? Because I was kind of going in and out, like when you were talking about your new level ones, how you do a Zoom call with them and repeat the things that you show them, because it was like really muffled.
Yes. So when I get a level one, I will ask them like, hey, if they're not wanting to work the business, I will say, you know, I approach it different ways. So if they're not wanting to work the business, I will say, hey, let's set up a little quick Zoom chat. It'll take maybe like 10 minutes so I can show you how to order in your back office and make sure your order is good, because they want to make sure their order is good, and they want to make sure they know how to get around in their back office. So, I mean, that's all I tell them. Like, hey, it'll only take like a quick maybe 10 minutes. And so then when I get them on, I kind of just say, okay, this is your back office. And then I go to, this is how you set up your backup order. You know, I go through, make sure their backup order is set up correctly, help them really understand what that is. If we want to change around the dates or whatever, you know, do that. Then I show them like, hey, if you want to order something outside of your monthly shipment, this is how you do it. And I show them how to do their shopping cart and how to order from that. I show them like, hey, if for any reason, like you bought a bunch of product and maybe you made a little money off of your own product, like this is how you would do your pay portal. Like this is how you would use your funds to buy your products. So I kind of just show them that general. And then I'm like, hey, I know you're not interested in working the business, but I just kind of want to show you how maybe you could get your products for free. And I just show them the comp plan. I open it up. I talk a little bit on it about like silver, about how to get their products for free, kind of just tell them ideas of things that they can do, you know, like preferred customer bonus. And then I kind of just touch a little bit on like emerald, sapphire, and diamond, like what the potential is. And I have had someone recently that said, Angie, when you did that, I had absolutely no desire at all to work the business, but I had no idea the potential that you could have within this company. And when you did that, that really got my brain, you know, really got my wheels spinning. So you just never, ever know. I mean, just because someone is like, I am not working the business, you still want to show them. You don't want to just like, read the whole entire compensation plan to them, because it's way too much. So this is what I tell them. I just tell them about going silver. I tell them about the commission. I tell them about the preferred bonus. And I tell them like, hey, if you had 3 preferred customers, that would pay for your products, you know, depending on whatever they were buying. So I kind of just shared that little bit. And I'm like, you know, then this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing right now. And this is the potential at, you know, and I just kind of tell them emerald, sapphire, and diamond, like kind of what the company does for them. I share a little bit of my testimony. And then, you know, that's kind of what I do for every level 1 that signs up that I can get on a Zoom call, because I know sometimes you just can't get people on anything. But you can do that Zoom. You can do that whole, like, go through your back office thing from your phone in your car. Like, all you have to do is in Zoom, you can, like, share a URL. So you just share the Plexus URL. And then you can go in there and you can do it from your phone, because I've done it many times in the school parking lot, just walk through my back office. So I highly encourage you to do that for anyone that you have sign up underneath you, because you just never know if that's not something that you feel comfortable with. I mean, you can get on with your upline and do it. I know sometimes I think that people get a little intimidated, especially if they're not wanting to work the business. Like, oh God, they're wanting to get me on with some other person that's trying to sell me. So I know that, I mean, but then sometimes people like that. So, you know, it just depends. Everyone's different, but I would encourage you, every person that you sign up, I would encourage you to walk them through how to do their order, and also make sure that they are on the team pages. I feel like that is so, so very important, whether they want to work the business or not. I feel like it is so important to have that connection. So
do you ever tell people what you make?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I mean, I know we're not supposed to put that publicly, but I know they say sometimes if you tell people like what you're making a month, they're like, wow, you're really making that, you know? So
I probably make a teacher's salary in a month. It's crazy. From ramen noodles to a teacher salary in a month. It's a tremendous blessing. But
Yeah.
yes, I do privately tell people that. Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I mean, I do for the whole thing of, but you know, a lot of times what I try to do when new people, because I think that a lot of times, like, I've kind of reached the point of, you know, people are like, wow, but they also think like, I could never do that. So I share, you know what? I mean, I may make a teacher salary in a year, but I have so many people on the team that make enough to cover their car payment or to cover their mortgage or to cover their, you know, and so I think that it's important to kind of share the full scope so that they can see the potential, because I never in a million years would have dreamed of this. I never would have thought, I thought, you know, maybe like $10,000 a month. That's what kind of I thought would be, but it's definitely way surpassed that. So I think it's really good to make sure that the people see like the full scope of what their potential could be in this business. And I think it's really important to be like, I mean, I'm pretty honest and open with whoever asks me anything. So.
Well, because I know some people have been like, you know, tell them you can make an extra $200 a month or extra $500, and that, you know, could really help people. No, it's not thousands of dollars, but that can make a difference for a lot of people.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. And that's why I say I think it's kind of important to be, you know, you can share like, hey, this is the potential that you could do. These are what my uplines are. You know, I mean, all of your uplines are in the teacher salary or above, and you know, but this is what I'm doing. This is what people on my team are doing. So they kind of see that full scope of what the potential is. But definitely when you say like, hey, wouldn't it be great to make enough to cover your car payment? This is how you can do it. And kind of give them direction in how they can cover their car payment. And there is something I know that I've posted at one time or another. It's like how to make $500 with Plexus. It's on the Pink Dynasty. I'm sure you can search it. And that's a really good one. That's a really good post, because I might like swing it back to the top. Because that's a really good post, because it gives some really good examples of how you can make, you know, just $500 is, I mean, definitely $500 when I first started was life changing. I mean, it's still, who couldn't use an extra $200 a month?
Angie, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Did you ever come to a point where you felt like you ran out of people to talk to? I mean, like, I feel like I've exhausted my friends and family and even acquaintances and acquaintances of acquaintances. And so I'm like, okay, now where do I go?
But, you know, so I have definitely felt that way for sure. And I lived in Dallas, Texas, where there's like, I don't know, I think the first 100 Jules live in Dallas, Texas, whatever. But, you know, I lived in Dallas where, I mean, you know, there were a lot of Plexus people there. But I really think, you know, you start thinking like, gosh, I feel like I've exhausted everyone. But then that's when you kind of, I think you need to kind of dig deeper, or you need to start maybe getting engaged in some different things. I mean, if your children are in sports, then they're always going to be, maybe if they're on different, I mean, I don't know if that's, you know, a way to meet new people through your children's activities. Fallon Black, she did a call for us. It's been recorded on Kids from the Top, and she had some really good things. But she said that when she started doing Plexus, she had about 200 friends, and she was not influential. So she read that How to Win Friends and Influence People, and kind of learned about influencing. And two of her rock stars she met on an online garage sale. So maybe start, kind of thinking, if you feel like you've started like exhausting your people, but obviously they're all not on your team yet, so you haven't exhausted them until they tell you to leave you alone. So, those are the people, like, you keep following up with them, because I have people that, I start feeling like, man, I've exhausted them. But if you really started looking, when you feel like you're exhausted, I think that's the time you need to go and make your 100 list all over again. That's the time. And I honestly think you need to make your list about every 3 months, because we're always constantly meeting people. And a really big thing that I do is I like to talk to people. I'm definitely a people person. So anywhere I go, if I strike up a conversation with someone and I'm like, hey, are you on Facebook? That is a great way to get me to expand your market, is like, hey, are you on, if you start talking to someone, strike up a conversation, you see someone that has a ball shirt on and you're like, hey, I want to connect with you on Facebook. I'm sure there are like Tennessee alumni things that you could join on Facebook that you can get, meeting more people there. But just kind of thinking outside of the box, and everyone that you meet, asking them if they're on Facebook. And Lori, I think it was Lori Welch that said this the other day, because this is what I do. I'll ask people if they're on Facebook, and then I'll friend them, and then like all of a sudden they're in my newsfeed, and I'm like, who in the heck is this? So what Lori said that she does is she screenshots it right after, like screenshots their profile, and then like messages herself, like met at whatever, and messages so that you kind of remember, and then you can go back and send them a message, hey, it was good connecting with you at blah blah blah, whatever. And so that way you can kind of remember that person. But obviously, you want to kind of harvest that relationship before before you try to get them to do Plexus. And that's kind of what Plexus, but that's what here when I moved, definitely was amazing for my business. But, because then it just threw me in this whole new, territory with all new people. But, definitely when you move in any new area, or when you develop new relationships, you have to be really, if you feel like you've exhausted, or you feel like you're trying to get new people, you have to be really intentional about building relationships with people. I think it's like, we all want people to like jump on board and be a part of this, because especially if you've had success in this business, you see it and you're like, gosh, I don't know why everybody, when I meet somebody, I'm like, hey, you need to join my team, but I can't just say that. I have to fill them out, get to know them, and then kind of slide it in. And definitely if you friend them on Facebook, they're going to start seeing your posts. They're going to start, and then eventually you can kind of go in but I think constantly trying to expand your network, meeting people when you go different places, adding them on Facebook is huge. And it's really nice, especially when you have kids, because you can get involved in different types of sports. And, there's always new parents that are being filtered through. So definitely wearing your Plexus stuff wherever you go, because people are going to ask questions about it, I think is a really big thing too. Does that kind of help a little bit?
Yes. Actually, I think I was reading or watching one of the Fallon Black's videos or whatever, and got online and found a triathlon group that swims or whatever. And I didn't know anybody there, but they were inviting new people, and so I showed up, and now Tamara and I go on Thursday nights. They eat dinner together and swim. So it's been pretty neat.
So, just right there, that's a great way to like, hey, to meet more people, to get a fresh market.
Right, sure. Right. So that's what I'm trying to do, is I feel like, getting into new groups on Facebook and actual people groups where I can talk to them face to face. But that takes time to cultivate that relationship. And it's just like, it's so frustrating. But every time I hear somebody say I've got Crohn's or I've got type 2 diabetes, I'm like, Can I just throw up Plexus on you right now?
Yes. Oh, it's so hard not to like just want to share, you know, but I mean, you can always, I think what's the most relatable when you share with people, instead of like, oh, I have this product that can, is if someone says, you know, they have Crohn's or they have whatever, is really finding a testimony. Hey, I've got someone on my team, they had this experience and this is what helped them. And it's seeming more like personal than talking about the products and how they can help you, but really relating it to telling a story. Sharing someone's testimony, I think, is a lot more, it will get people a lot more than just telling them how the product can help you, but really sharing how someone that had the same thing as them what got help with the Plexus. Which I know I know someone that has Crohn's that had, that has had success with Plexus. So I'm happy to get her testimony to send it to you.
Okay, that sounds good. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. So does anybody else have questions?
Actually, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you happen to know if the glitch with the upgrade button has been fixed?
You know what? I have not heard anything about that.
Okay, that's okay. I was just wondering.
I'm not even sure. I hadn't heard anything about that. But you know what? I know that there have been a bunch of people signing up. I mean, we've had people signing up, but I haven't heard anyone complain that it's broken. So it must work. But if you have any problems with it, feel free to message me. I will tell you that the customer service line, whenever you call them to like fix something like that, they have to email compliance. And then it goes from them and they have to email and then compliance will email back. And I kind of feel like, you know, it just got so crazy there for a while. And that's where things just got lost in the shuffle, I think. But like my liaison, I can call them and he has a whole different access to the system. So he can change things like instantly, whereas customer service has to go to compliance because they don't have full access to the system. So if you have anyone that has that problem, feel free to message me and I'm happy to help get that taken care of because my liaison is really quick. He's awesome. So does anybody else?
I know I had a,
yes.
I'm sorry, I had a preferred customer who actually upgraded and she didn't have a problem getting through doing the upgrade. So I'm thinking that hopefully it's fixed. I just think there was so many people doing that $19.99 special that, it was crashing the system a lot. So.
And that kind of happens a lot of times when we have like a special or something, like the system gets a little crazy. So I kind of think so too, that that's a lot of what it was. But I haven't heard anyone say anything. So I do feel like it's fixed now.
Good deal.
So, and you should be getting, if you did not get your email for Leaders Retreat credits, you should be getting that. If you don't have it by the end of the day on Monday, just email me or private message me, and I can reach out to my liaison to try to get that for you. So they were supposed to have emailed it out on Friday. I know my husband got his, but I did not get mine. So I'm thinking by Monday, by the end of the day, everybody should be able to get theirs. But if you don't have yours, private message me and I can I can get that to my liaison and get that over to you. So did you get yours, Tamara? You did?
Yeah. I got mine.
Good. I know. I've been keeping track of mine manually. So if you don't know how to, so the way that you would keep track of it manually is if you go to your weekly breakdown. So in your reports, commission summary, and then down would be like your monthly or your weekly. If you go to your weekly breakdown and open up your June and July checks, when you open them up each week, it tells you like who you got paid for. Just count the number of people that are in each of those weekly checks, and that will help you determine as far as your level, who you got paid, who you're earning points on for your levels 1 through 4. That would help you determine that. And then of course, you can just figure out like, okay, how many customers did I add that had at least $50 PV? And then what was my, PV each month? And if you are planning on going to Leaders Retreat and you haven't yet planned it out, once you do have that, there is and I'll post it on the thing. And I think I've posted it before, I'm not sure. But there's a chart that I think Nikki Hinkle made. She's a Diamond Ambassador. But it just helps you like determine, it tells you where you're at and like where you need to be in order to get to Leaders Retreat. So it's a really good chart that kind of breaks down the points and where you need to be at each point in the month in order to meet your goal. So if you're not where you need to be according, then you might want to work out a plan, because I think it's only through August 31st. I know normally they give us another 2 weeks in a month, but it's only going to be through August 31st. And everybody wants to go to the Gaylord Texan because it's in Texas, and that's where I'm from. And the Gaylord Texan is absolutely beautiful. It's such a nice hotel. I think any Gaylord is nice, but the Gaylord Texan is really, really nice. And you're very centrally located to just about anywhere you would want to go in the Dallas area. Fabulous shopping. We don't have that in Clearwater. But we have the beach.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
I had one more question, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh,
Do you
yes,
have any
ma'am.
quick tips for posting to be compliant with all the new rules and the Plexus way? Do you have any kind of quick guidelines to keep in mind to stay compliant?
I just try to, there's that graphic, which I can post it if you don't have it. I actually save it on my phone, and my daughter took my phone, so I don't have it on me. But there's a graphic that just says, can you hear me? Okay. There's a graphic that says, your guide to compliance, and it's just a real quick little graphic. I keep it saved on my phone and just remember, like, you can't list a disease. You only can list the symptoms of a disease. You can't list how much money you make. I don't know. Honestly, what I do is I just try to look at the graphic that I have that has been made out, and I just try to make sure. If you question anything, it probably is not compliant. So if you feel like something is not compliant, feel free to send it to, me or Julia or Tamara, and we can try to help you. Maybe even figure out how to make that more compliant. But, the biggest thing that I would say is no before and afters. We're not supposed to be posting those. We're not, unless, now there are some people that have some compliant ones that have a little number down in the bottom. I saw some on the Jules page the other day, So if it is a compliance approved one, that's completely different. But, you know, if, you know, no children with the product unless it's the X Factor family, no medical claims. Unfortunately, you can't say that even though they probably may have helped you get off medications, you can't say anything about products helping you get off medications. You can't claim any diseases. You can only list the symptoms. So I just try to, I'll send you that little, or I'll send it to Tamara and you can post it, or I can post it. That little graph, I save it on my phone and I just try to make sure that it's within that guideline. And there was a call that I did the other night about posting, and I went over compliance, but there's a part in there that I'll copy and I'll make a whole post of that, of, you know, instead of say this. So it was like, instead of saying, you know, migraines, you can say, I used to have severe headaches. It kind of gives you examples of, instead of saying allergies, you know, you can't say allergies, but you could say like sneezing and, you know, watery eyes or whatever it is. So I will, I want to make that, copy all of that out of my slideshow and make that a, I'll make that a post as well. But I just try to make sure that it's kind of in there. And if you ever have any questions, you know, feel free to message me. I really try hard to make sure that I'm compliant. So if I'm ever out of compliance, please let me know.
Angie, are we supposed to be putting a disclaimer in there as well? Did you
just like smile if you don't know?
The disclaimer.
Yeah. Now, I have seen people where if they put their testimony, they put that disclaimer on there. It's probably safe to do that. I probably should know if we're supposed to do that or not, but I don't do that. But it probably is, it wouldn't hurt to make sure you have that disclaimer on every one of your, you know, but I don't know. I can find that out though. I try to be compliant, but I think I'm probably like the worst person to ask about compliance.
Didn't they say something about if it was your own personal before and after that you could put it on there, just not other people's?
I don't know. I just heard at one point that we weren't allowed to do before and afters.
Okay.
But I don't know, like, I don't know if it's just our own or what it was.
Because I thought I heard somewhere that we could do like our own personal before and afters, but we couldn't do other people's. But and like I have thyroid disease, but I'm not supposed to say the word thyroid disease, just symptoms of that. I knew I couldn't say name diseases and stuff.
Oh, I guess I didn't. Oh wait, here it is. It says, yeah, it says if you do not have the necessary disclosures and disclaimers, you must not post these photos.
Okay.
If the before and after advertisement is approved, compliance will provide necessary disclaimers and disclosures. So it just basically says that you need to all of them you need to be sending into compliance.
Okay.
And I think even your own, I mean, it doesn't, it just says all of them. So I would just probably, I mean, you can post that stuff privately. I would just probably stay away from posting it publicly, which really stinks, especially if you have a really good before and after. Which I think you do, don't you, Tamara?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I did like one with my driver's license from a couple years ago, and then like now, and I don't even know if I said anything about Plexus, and I think I got like over 100 and something likes on it. So
now you can do that, like, wow, look at my driver's license, and not mention Plexus at all.
Right.
Everybody knows that you're taking Plexus. They
Right.
know you know what I'm saying? And if
Yeah.
you say, hey, what have you been doing? You could private message them. But as long as you didn't have Plexus in the thing. And that's the other thing too, is even make sure in your hashtags that you're being compliant. You know, I saw that on something the other day and I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I mean, you would think if you're making sure that the body of the post is compliant, that you're not putting fibromyalgia or whatever it is in the hashtag.
Okay.
So, I mean, but you never know. Some people do that. So you just want to make sure too that your hashtags are compliant too.
Okay.
But I mean, compliance really is a big thing, and we do want to make sure that we are trying to, I mean, I try my best to make sure I'm following the guidelines. That's why I'm saying, like, if you see me post something and not compliant, it won't hurt my feelings one bit if you message me, because I would rather it be you that message me than compliance department.
Well, it was funny when Celeste was here like a couple weeks ago. She was telling us she gets messages from compliance to her all the time. So it was kind of funny that even she has to, she struggles with that kind of stuff too.
Well, I think especially if you've been doing it for a while, you've done it one way for so long and you're kind of just used to. And so now, like, I'll write out something and then I'm like, oh gosh, am I allowed to say that? You know, I have to kind of think on it. But you know, I try to use that thing my mama told me, you know, if you think it's not good, then it probably isn't.
Yeah, that's right.
I just know a lot of the younger, newer ambassadors are afraid to share because they don't want to be out of compliance. You know, so it's hard to kind of motivate them to say, it's okay, you know, we'll let you know, or, you know, that kind of thing. Hey, try it this way. But I like having, you know, being able to say, you know, message it to us and we can help you make it compliant and then post it. So
yes, I think that's a really big thing. Or even with new people that are afraid, like, help them write it, just or you know, set them up and send them compliant, you know, like testimonies or whatever it is, compliant posts to get them started. And once they kind of see like how the flow of them is going, then that might help them. But really, I mean, I'm really big on making sure that you get your new people set up as best as you can. And if that means you help them do all their beginning posts until they kind of get used to it. But definitely, you know, like, hey, if you want to make sure, I tell anyone before they send their first post out, like, hey, send it to me first and I'll help you write it. Just so we can make sure it's compliant. Because I hate having to call someone that just did their very first post and they were like, want to throw up anyway. And then you're like, hey, you're going to have to completely change that. I've had to do that before, but I usually try to help people write their posts. So does anyone else have anything? Oh, okay. Well, you can always feel free to ask me any questions. I'm always here to help you, to support you, to encourage you in any way. So please, 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 always feel free to reach out to me. I am open and available, and anytime you need me. If I don't respond back to you, it is not because, it's probably because you got lost in my messages. So please message me again. and don't feel like you're bugging me, because sometimes my message box gets really crazy. So if I don't respond to you, or even if I looked at it, I hate that little thing that Facebook like shows you that someone's looked at it, because sometimes that person that looked at it was my kid that was playing on my phone. And so please message me again if I don't message you back, and don't feel like you're bugging me at all, because I do try to make sure that I go through and respond back to people. But sometimes I'll see someone like message me 2 months ago and I never responded to him, and I hate that. So I'm very thankful for all of you. I pray for this team daily, and I want to do everything that I can to help you be successful. So please always reach out to me. So, and that's all, unless you need anything else.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you for sharing with us tonight. And can you post the recording to my team page, so
Yes,
if there's
I
other
will.
people that can get on, they can watch it?
Yes, I will. Hopefully we're not too out of compliance. Just kidding.
Well, it's a private page, so.
No, totally good. All right. Well, thank you. And I
Thank
will
you
post this
so
to your
much.
page.
Thank you for sharing.
You're
Thanks,
welcome. Thank you. And I'll also post those things that we talked about.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thank
Y'all
you
have a
so
good
much.
night.
You
See
too.
ya.
Bye.
Bye.